For the record, I am by no means trying to scare anybody from not going to this place, but I feel some type of way, to be honest. Not too long ago, I had a little video talking about how, maybe, just maybe, since, there's going to be a Worlds in Vegas, that they should probably do maybe a big event like a YCS in New York or something like that, along those lines. Lo and behold, a few weeks later, after doing that video, they announced YCS Edison, New Jersey. Now, here's the thing. I posted it up out there a while back, and there were a few people that mentioned, reasons why there couldn't be a YCS in New York. And along the lines, it was pretty obvious. They were talking about money, population, but one of the other major things was crime. Like, you think YCS is now, there's a lot of robbery and people taking stuff and things disappearing. Times that by about 50 in New York. Why? Well, there's so many people in New York, but there's also a very, very thieving, festering criminal element that's everywhere. It's not just Yugi. It's not only to Yugi. It's everywhere. There's a criminal element in freaking other card games. There's a criminal element when playing video games. There's a criminal element in freaking art shows. It's just there because it's just New York City. That's just the way it is. So I'm guessing what they did was their reasoning behind doing the thing in New Jersey was based on the premise of, well, we can't have it in New York, probably mostly due to money and stuff, and this crime element that everybody's so afraid of. Let's just do it in New Jersey. Oh, why didn't we think of that before? New Jersey, of course, because, shoot, the football teams in New York don't even play in New York because it's so bad over there, right? Yeah, I don't know if many people past the East Coast know this, but New Jersey probably has a higher crime rate than New York. And just because it's going to be in a completely different state, don't think for a second that doesn't mean that people from New York aren't going. Not to mention other people from New York and other, people that you watch or you read about that live in the New York area, they're going to New Jersey. And for those of you that are going over there, I simply want to give you a few pieces of advice. First things first, watch your shit. I can't reiterate that fact even more than it's just basic. Just watch your stuff. Why? Because there are people that are going to try to take your stuff. New York is, I've walked from one part of like in the Bronx, for example. I've walked from one part of the Bronx to another and seen people who got their stuff stolen from one end being sold on the other. Everybody's trying to make a come from New York. And a lot of you guys are thinking about coming from like Chicago and stuff like that to go to New York. You're about to run into the biggest wannabe hustlers as you've ever seen in Yugi. Because for some reason, New York is just full with vendors. Like, New York City is full of vendors, and they're about to all go to New York to try to oversell or overprice you on something. It's going to be hilarious, and I really recommend people record and watch these guys really try to make a profit. There's one thing to making a profit, there's another from just trying to completely rip somebody off, and I hope a lot of them get shitted on over the weekend. Now, I'm not trying to say that New Yorkers are a different class of people within the United States or even the world, which, honestly, I do kind of believe that. But that's besides the point. However, they have different ways of going about things. See, I'm pretty sure most of you guys out there have, especially from the bigger cities, have dealt with these so-called, like, Yugi thugs. And they're usually the guys that are they're the big looking guys. They're the bully. They're like usually a little bit older. They're the ones that tend to be the bullies. They know how to play, but they also like, they get in your face and stuff like that. There's a lot of those in New York. In fact, there's too many of those. The problem with the ones from New York, though, is that some of them are just that. They're just for show. They don't do anything. They talk real big. They'll tell you 20 times, play for cards, and then they'll walk away. That's just how they are. However, there is a small percentage that will punch you in the face and probably won't care. Remember, this is the first YCS in New Jersey. It's not like other YCSs where they've had them before. This is going to be the first one in New Jersey. You're going to get a lot of guys that are going to go in there that aren't going to give a fuck. Especially right now. The climate in the game right now, especially at the time, there's going to be sneak peek. I'm pretty sure people are going to go to sneak peek on the first day, show up to the YCS on the next day to try to sell some of the cards that came out. Don't do it. If you're not from the area, if you don't have friends, if you're not going to do not do it. Why? Because there are people out there that will wait till you move. And you don't even have to leave the area. Because I'm not even sure they're going to have enough cops for this goddamn thing either. You won't even have to leave the area. You could go to a certain spot and they'll probably snatch your bag up, or even worse, just hit you. Trust me, I've seen it happen in other places that were respected and like safe. It can happen to you. Be careful and don't show off your shit. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. Don't show off your shit and don't really broadcast that you have certain things, which kind of defeats the purpose because you're trying to get rid of stuff. However, you got to be careful because the wrong person might hear you and go, word, I'm about to get me a new pair of Jordans or something. And no, that's not just black people, because my ass is Spanish and I've seen plenty of Spanish dudes do the same goddamn thing. But you can leave any racist comments in the section below. That's fine. I'll probably just ignore you. Moving onward. And the last thing I'm going to say is, which probably shouldn't really have to be said, whatnot, is just know that this is the first time there's a YCS in Jersey. Hopefully, it's not the last time there's a YCS in Jersey. I tend to be an optimist. I tend to be optimistic about stuff, but with this specifically, if it was New York, yes, there would be a lot of stuff, but it would be a lot more controlled, because a big event like this in New York City, specifically like within the main city, Jacob Javits Center, there would be a lot of police presence. There's no way that big amount of people, especially with the unfortunate events that happened in Boston recently and such like that. You know, New York is already used to a large grouping of people attracting the wrong kind of attention. So as a deterrent, they just add more cops, add more security. There's going to be cops probably at Edison. There's probably going to be security. There will be. But not as much as there would be in New York, you know. And trust me, do not go to these cops. Watch your stuff. Do not get robbed. Because these cops they will not give a flying fuck. Most of them are probably just going to be there to do some overtime, to get some extra money, and this is easy bank for them. 2 days just standing around watching a bunch of kids play with their cards. Wonderful. Do not expect justice to be brought down. And you know what? Just for the record, I'll probably put the links down here. There's some hilarious videos of people getting robbed and calling cops, and guess what? It never works. It just doesn't. I've never called the cops. I've had my stuff stolen once. I don't call the cops. Why? Because it's fucking stupid. You know how stupid you look calling a cop, telling them, oh, some guy stole my cards, but they're worth $1,000. No. You better have an iPod or something expensive in your bag to be calling the cops. But I digress. Have fun at Edison. New Jersey, wherever the hell it is. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Edison. Let me see. The Meadowlands, whatever. I've been saying the wrong thing all video, but it doesn't matter. Just have fun, be safe, guys, and remember, for everybody coming out from like Chicago and stuff like that have never really interacted with guys from New York, it's going to be a little bit different. Because the people that I'm talking about from New York are not the ones that are able to go to Toronto. These are not the players that can go to Toronto. These are not the players that go down to Florida. These are the ones that live right there, that never go to these goddamn YCSs or any regional for that matter. They're just the ones that sit in New York, do nothing, and sell cards for obnoxious amounts of money and actually make the money off of that. And 70% of the time, they don't get those cards through pulling packs of trades. It should be fun, but I got a funny feeling it's going to suck for most of y'all. So, you guys have fun with that. I hope you enjoyed this little rant. When's the next? Ecuador. Shit, I ain't going down to fucking Ecuador.